One comment, there's a lot in your opinion piece, which we're going to go through, and I urge everyone to go read this. If I look at one part of your piece where it talks about the story of this continent is not one of potential, of perpetual potential, but is of rising momentum. What does that mean to someone watching at home?
Gareth, I think we've heard for years, in fact for decades, about the potential of Africa and about the huge youth that we have, the youth bulge that we have in the continent, and how we can actually utilize this to the advantage of Africa. It's about seeing how we actually utilize the resources that are gifted to this continent. And I think there's a strong role for higher education to play in this regard to ensure that we beneficiate this resource that is on the African continent, our youth and the natural resources that we have on the continent.
How well have we been doing that up to now for you to write an opinion piece? Are we doing a good enough job, or are there still concerns for you, Prof?
I think what tends to happen is that higher education institutions tend to focus on just the production of graduates, but not about the type of graduate that's produced with the kind of skill sets, with the competencies and the attributes, with the kind of leadership skills that will really advance not just their countries, but the continent. And I think that's a focus that we are playing at Stellenbosch University in terms of how can we develop the next set of graduates for the continent, and how we as an institution can be in service of not just South Africa, but the African continent.
And I imagine that's this three-pronged approach, this imperative that you talk about as well: innovation, inclusion, and infrastructure. I want to pick up on the second one, inclusion, Professor, and you're a man who knows the industry very well. There's often criticism that private higher education is still excluded from the majority of South Africans because of affordability and Africa. Where are we on the inclusion angle?
I think especially in South Africa, we've had a massive expansion in terms of access to higher education, especially over the last decade. And I think moving into the future, there has to be alternative means in which we make higher education more accessible, more affordable.